Marley, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world. On Newsfeed today, the web needs fixing. The man who invented it thinks he may have some solutions. Another K-pop star is dead. We hear the latest from Seoul. Istanbul hosts an Asian food festival, and of course, we went along. And a viral video of a boy seeing color for the first time should be enough to make you smile on a Monday. Top of our newsfeed, Tim Berners-Lee and the plan to save the internet. Now, the man who created the World Wide Web has worked for the past year alongside some of the best in the business to come up with 9 principles they think can stop the internet becoming even more of a cesspit than it already is. Now, he calls it the contract for the web and says that governments, companies and citizens all need to do their part. Here are the 9 principles as Berners-Lee et al. See them. Governments must ensure that everyone can access the internet, and that means the whole internet. Governments must not interfere with online content. If they do, it must be consistent with human rights law. Governments will be responsible for establishing a legal framework for protection of all personal data. This is so everyone can use the internet freely, safely, and without fear. Berners-Lee then moves on to companies who he says have a responsibility to make the internet affordable and accessible for everyone. They would also be held accountable for protecting users' data in order to build online trust, as well as holding a social obligation to support the best in humanity while challenging the worst in human nature. The aim to ensure the web is really a tool for public good. Then it's about us, saying we must be active participants in shaping the web, including producing or translating content into minority languages to ensure everyone can make use of online resources. Principle 8 asks citizens to build strong online communities that respect human dignity and civil discourse. And finally, he calls on all of us to fight for the future of the web and to stand up against the weaponization of the internet.
Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web in 1989. Now, 30 years later, he wants to save it from itself. His ambitious plan, Contract for the Web, was created by the World Wide Web Foundation. Over the past year, this Bill of Rights and Obligations has been developed by civil society activists, governments, and companies from around the world.
There's a sense that some of these questions were really hard. The world, this new world in which so much of our society is determined by how social networks work and so on, is new, and there's no rule book written 100 years ago. So this is, in a way, the first time we've had a rule book in which responsibility has been shared.
In an op-ed in the New York Times, Berners-Lee warns the internet is being misused and is at a tipping point. The contract is designed to stop the spread of misinformation, as well as mass surveillance and government censorship. The contract for the web is based on 9 principles, with 3 for each area of focus: governments, companies, citizens. The contract has been backed by more than 150 organizations, from tech giants Microsoft, Google, Facebook, and Twitter, to organizations such as Reporters Without Borders, Electronic Frontier Foundation, and the Open Data Institute.
Having them in the room is really important. Yes, they do have an effect. Yeah, you may. Some people take objection to any company that has shareholders as a matter of principle, but if there are companies out there, we feel that companies and governments deserve equal seats at the table, and understanding where they're coming from is equally valuable.
The governments of France and Germany have reportedly indicated their support, while Amnesty International, which recently released a report saying that Facebook and Google's pervasive surveillance poses a systematic threat to human rights, has called for a radical transformation of the tech giant's business model. However, Facebook and Google have disputed the findings, with Mark Zuckerberg saying the report contains a number of inaccuracies and faulty assumptions. Berners-Lee has admitted it's unlikely that China and Russia will sign up to the project. He also says the United States may not be keen either. One of the key elements of the contract for the web is net neutrality. The idea that internet service providers treat all net traffic equally. The Trump administration has attempted to change that principle. With the UK elections less than a month away and the US elections next year, the internet will be the major political battlefield. With social media giants coming under criticism during the Brexit referendum and the last US elections, Berners-Lee has called for an end to political advertising.
Sure, I think it's important to have the places which are funded by advertising and places that aren't funded by advertising. But right now, I think personally, it would be great if there were no targeted political advertising on during the election season.
Berners-Lee has called on people to back his initiative. He says the contract for the web is our last chance before we enter a digital dystopia.
Let's take a look at some of the other things that caught our eye on social media. Now, Prince Andrew, who was mates with a convicted sex offender, has had his 60th birthday party cancelled by his mum. Queen Elizabeth II has agreed that Andrew should take a step back from public life after he gave a car crash interview recently to defend himself and his friendship with the now dead sex abuser, Jeffrey Epstein. The sequel to Frozen has raked in $350 million worldwide in its first weekend. Elsa, Anna, Sven and Olaf and the rest of them are all back in my niece Layla's most eagerly awaited film ever. And on a completely different note, this is the trailer for Antebellum, a new horror movie from the producers of Get Out and Us. It stars Janelle Monáe and looks to be a nightmarish take on slavery, somehow mixed with current events. It's out in the spring of 2020. Well, next we go to South Korea, where Bruce has been looking at the latest death of a K-pop superstar.
South Korean K-pop fans have lost yet another idol. It was just 6 weeks ago that singer Soli was found dead in apparent suicide. Soli and Goo Hara were friends, and on social media shortly after Goo Hara's death, fans were sharing photos of the two singers spending time together with messages like, "Rest in peace, our angels." And this Twitter user in particular mentions the name Jonghyun. She's referring to Kim Jonghyun, who was the lead singer of boy band SHINee. He killed himself in 2017. So here in South Korea, the conversation has quickly focused on why are these celebrities dying. Another Twitter user, Seoul Bloomberg correspondent Ji-hae Lee, shared a tweet showing one of the trending hashtags on Twitter. It was "Punish Chae Jong-bum." And Chae Jong-bum is the ex-boyfriend of Goo Hara. She took him to court, and he was convicted over making a video of the two having sex without her consent and then threatening to share that video publicly. Even though Chae Jong-bum apparently didn't share that video publicly, netizens were still searching for it. According to one user of the online portal Naver, that user said that the people who were searching for that video are just as bad as the makers of the spy cam videos. Another said that cyberbullying is to blame for these incidents. Both Soli and Goo Hara were viciously attacked on their social media platforms. Goo Hara most prominently after she took her ex-boyfriend to court, and then Soli after she posted a couple of photographs on social media where she wasn't wearing a bra underneath a t-shirt. Still others online say it's the management companies of these stars that need to do more to protect their stars' mental health. At this time, Goo Hara's death, the cause of death, is unclear, but it was just months ago that she was hospitalized after being found unconscious at her home. So Korean netizens largely believe it was suicide, and many of them sadly say that this latest death still may not be the wake-up call the industry or the country needs to prevent it from happening again.
And we keep on spinning around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Monday. District elections in Hong Kong have brought a huge victory for people in the city who've been protesting. 17 of the 18 councils are now said to be controlled by people who are against more control from China. 6 months of demonstration have shown the anger of the people against the city's relationship with Beijing. Well, Pope Francis has been in Japan. He went to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the two cities the American military dropped nuclear bombs on in 1945 during the Second World War. The head of the Catholic Church says that nuclear weapons are immoral and has called for a world without them. More than 150,000 people were killed in those bombings and many more have suffered the effects of radiation. There are an estimated 13,890 nuclear weapons currently in the world. They're held by the US, Russia, France, the UK, China, Israel, Pakistan, India, and North Korea. Koalas have been killed in huge numbers in the recent bushfires in Australia. Some scientists have said the species are now what's known as functionally extinct. That's because 80% of their habitat has been burned. There is some debate among the scientists as to exactly what stage the species is at, but it is accepted by all that they are in dire need of protection and that the fires are extremely damaging. But one species which is now extinct in Malaysia is the Sumatran rhino. The last known female, Iman, died over the weekend. The animal once roamed all over Asia, but it's now thought there are fewer than 100 left. They've been killed by human activity, they've been hunted, and their habitat has been destroyed. Well, over the weekend here in Istanbul, there was a food festival dedicated to the delicious cuisines of Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Indonesia. So we sent two of our hungriest producers down to check it out.
I heard it in Facebook and came. It must be interesting. Therefore, I just wanted to see and experience the culture because I haven't been to Thailand. Therefore, I just want to know.
So I think it's very good because I miss my country too. Yeah. So I love to eat food here. Thailand and some other the Asian country, they have the weekly market. They can come to shop to eat the food, many things. And this is the idea in the beginning. And second is I want to promote our food, the Thai and Asian food. And also I want to, the Thai Turkish people and foreigner, they understand our culture. They understand more of the Asian people live. I want to support the Thai and Asian lady who living here. Because some of them married here and then like housewife. I want to bring them the skill, the ability for them to show to the people that we're not just a housewife. We can do so many things.
And last up, this video we are about to show you has been watched at least 8 million times since it was posted a few days ago. It's a student who's colorblind seeing color for the first time due to some new glasses. Now, the guy in the red top there trying on the glasses is Jonathan Jones. He's 12 and has never seen color until now.
Look pretty cool. That's awesome. Hey, come here.
And in a uniquely internet addition to this story, his brother who filmed the video has set up a GoFundMe page to buy his bro some glasses. And the GoFundMe has already raised $25,000. So Jonathan is definitely getting a pair. And according to the post, some other kids will too. Now, isn't that a bit of good news to start your week with? And that will do you from the Newsfeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints, and suggestions. You'll find me at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on YouTube. You can subscribe to our channel, and you can follow me on Twitter. Follow, subscribe, and add. And I will see you again tomorrow.